The ACCA September 2025 exams are coming up, and here are some tips and tricks, especially if this is one of your first exam of the skill or professional level papers. So if you find value in this video, give it a thumbs up and do subscribe if you haven't. And guys, do stay till the end of this video because we're going to announce something that should be beneficial to many of you guys. Now, first things first, there are 2-3 very important tips. I've been saying this for years, and unfortunately, many people who land up not doing this have a tough time. So step number 1, it is more about practice than about theory, which means that you might be tempted to spend most of your time, especially as the exams come close, to study the text, study the concepts, read the examples, and that's actually the problem. What you need to do is burn your textbooks now. The exams are coming up and you need to spend majority of your time in practicing questions, right? When I say practice questions, I do not mean read questions, ask yourself if you know it and give yourself a thumbs up. No, I don't mean that when you practice question, you only practice the solving, the numeric part. ACCA does not reward you enough to pass an exam if you just get the numeric part right. In ACCA, what is important is that you of course are good at solving, right? So you've got to practice on Excel and on Word, right? We have a practice platform which you can practice on. The ACCA body gives you a practice platform to practice on, but it's important that you don't only solve the numerical part, you also answer the questions which are about analyzing your answer, about justifying your answer. And here you cannot again think to yourself that I know what the points are and not put in the effort. You will have to type it down as though it's the real exam, right? No shortcuts, don't lie down in bed and read. These things are obviously a killer. Point number 1. Point number 2, time management in the exam. So many people who score a 48, for example, right? And you don't clear the paper. And when I ask that, how much of the exam did you attempt? They say I attempted 90 marks, for example. They just left 10 marks. If they appeared for those 10 marks, they would have most likely at least gotten 5 in those. And if you just do the basic math, right? If you had done that, obviously you would have gotten, instead of 48, you would have gotten 53, cleared the exam. Let's say that appearing for those 10 marks in the exam is causing you to lose a couple of marks in some other question. No problem. Instead of 48, you might have scored 46. But then because you gave this 10-mark exam, you still got 5 marks more. So instead of 46, you get 51. In any scenario, right, attempting all 100 marks gives you a higher chance of clearing than to properly answer every other question and leave a chunk of the question. So the practice of time management is very critical. In ACCA, you have a 3-hour paper of writing, right? 3 hours 15 minutes, but 3 hours, or let's say 3 hours 15 minutes. That's 195 minutes. 195 minutes for 100 marks, which means for 1 mark, you are technically given 1.95 minutes. So I used to give myself a buffer and tell myself it's 1.8 minutes, for example. So when I solve a 10-mark sum in ACCA, I give myself 18 minutes. The minute I cross the 18th minute mark, if I'm not done with my 10-mark answer, which I'm practicing at home in full, I would leave the answer and go to the next one and get myself used to that. Because by sticking to the time, I'm assuring myself I'm going to attempt 100 marks, and that has the highest chances of giving you a... I used to tell students back in the day that you are increasing your chances of clearing the paper by 50% if you attempt 100% of the papers. So it's a very easy thing to say, I know this answer which you're solving and it'll take you 2 more minutes to get to the final answer and you think you'll get full marks. It's a trap. It's better to leave that and solve every single thing because you will score more that way. Finally guys, point number 3 is mock exams. Again, very easy. Everyone says it. Barely anybody does it. You've got to attempt at least 3 mock exams by yourself in exam conditions and self-evaluate. So what I mean by this is that when I say exam condition is at home, open your laptop, lock yourself in a room for 3 hours 15 minutes, tell everybody to not disturb you. If required, throw the key away. In those 3 hours 15 minutes, act like it's a real exam. Read the question. Always, that's one other tip guys. Read the question by starting with reading the requirement. If any of you have attempted ACCA, you'll know the requirement comes at the end and that's the question. Above that is the entire case study or whatever is the question format. So what most students do is they start from the top, they process the case study and then they read what is required and then they restart reading everything to find the answers. You do the opposite. Read the requirement first. Upfront, you know what they're asking so that when you start reading the case study, you can start immediately jotting down and marking what the requirement is, where the answers are, and you'll end up saving a lot of time. Again, answer the questions in full numeric, solve every sentence properly, type it down without any spelling errors, without any shortcuts, because that's how you would do in the real exam. Time yourself. Please time yourself. Give the mock exam, once you're done, take a break and then self-evaluate, right? You will always have the answers to the mock you've given. Check your answers, right? Try and give yourself, this will all take time, but it is worth it because it will solve another 3 months of you re-attempting an exam, right? So mark yourself on each of these answers that you gave, and let's hypothetically hypothetically assume you have scored just 50, you just cleared, or you just failed or just passed. Do that again in a day or two, right? This time, take this entire effort again. Maybe you'll score a few more marks, right? But at least you're starting to clear. You know where your weakness is, whether it's time management, whether it is reading the questions and making silly errors, whether it's some concept which you need to go back and revise. At least you're getting used to it. Give a third mock. By this time, you should be much more comfortable. And now imagine this, when you go for the final exam, right, that's almost like your fourth mock. Everything is the same. By this time, you're so used to, hopefully, you're so used to the entire pattern that in the exam, your entire focus is on the questions. It's on remembering your answers, and you are not at all jittered by time management, by a complicated trick question, because you've gotten used to it. You know when to skip a trick question. You know when to not spend too much time on a particular question because of your time management practice. And this is how you will be able to, hopefully be much more confident about clearing the actual exam. So guys, if you do not follow one of these thoughts, please start. Even we are in August right now, you have close to a month to study. Invest all your energy like this. If you're giving multiple exams, you will have to go through this because it gives you the highest chance of clearing. Try all of these things, guys, and hopefully do let us know if any of these helped you in your final exam and it helped you clear. We'll be really happy. And if there are any other tips that you follow which you would like to share with our audience, please feel free, leave it in the comments.